Well, I was out looking around and off to that side found a bunch of very large, very dead ash. Kind of hurts, you know. They've been sitting there for a long time, and I just never got quite far enough to find them in terms of when I was logging this section. But there was at least 10 in the 22 to 24 inch diameter range, which is a significant amount. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to do a little bit of cutting through some of the stuff that's down here so I can get down to where I am logging from this end versus the south end. And perfect way to test that 572 that we just put a junk pile top end on. The thing I find interesting is this, is to the north, the ash are very, very, very dead. So it obviously started up that direction. Because as the more I go south in this section of woods, the less time or the less dead those ash trees are. The ones over here are just, they're beyond gone. You can't get anything out of them. And they're probably dangerous to fell, so I'm not going to do it now. It's a waste of my time. But as I start getting further that direction, I'm actually running into live, large ash trees, which is pretty good. So I got to cut myself either forward or back. But right now I'm not going either direction. So I guess I better suit up and fire up that saw and just get working. Not a lot to do. I went through and filed all the chains. And I think the thing I find interesting is how different the different chains react to exactly the same filing. And I kind of knew it for a lot of reasons, the geometry of the chain and the cutters and even the side plates. I mean, all that stuff adds up. And I want to see if I can find if that's a consistent thing. If I buy those chains, am I going to get a consistent quality? Because it's actually decent. And it costs about half of what the other chains. Of course, when I'm really working for real, time is an essence. I'm still going with my C83 or Stihl. Some guys, I heard a guy say, I don't like Stihl chain. RS is good stuff. There's no way you can argue that. It's good chain. It works well. And I found that it holds its edge longer than just about anything on the market. But then the C83, it's a blessing and a curse for me, is out of the box for my saws. And this is another whole topic because it's kind of like the oil discussions online. People have a almost religious fervor for one style or another. But for me, and the way I cut and the way my saws operate and run, out of the box, the C83 is the sharpest, best cutting chain I can buy, including the RS. The RS holds its edge longer, but out of the box, the C83 cuts faster on my saws. It's less effort, when I'm working. The problem is, once they get dull, I can't replicate them, So then they're right back to being like any other chain. Whereas the RS, it holds its edge longer, and when you use the Stihl brand files, it actually can be filed back to pretty much where it was as it came out of the box. And so that's the dilemma. And what I've done for the last few years is I just kept buying C83 chain, and then when I file it up, I use it for firewood. And when I'm logging, is I buy new loops and throw it on there, carry 2 or 3 out with me. But the price of chain has got to the point where that's, it's not as viable, which is one of the reasons why I'm going back in, filing on these things. And I've kind of come up with a spec that works using a combination of products I never would have touched just even a year ago, to where I can still bore cut. It's not too aggressive. It's not too snatch and grabby. And on that one, doesn't aggravate me. But that chain, yeah, it cuts. I mean, a firewood guy would never know the difference. But to me, it's like sharp skates playing hockey. If you got dull skates, man, I'll tell you what, it just crimps your style. And you feel it, and you think about it, and it bothers you. Well, I'm the same way about chains. And no matter what I've done to that one so far, it just simply doesn't cut as well as same brand, but obviously a different design on the Domar. Of course, neither one of them cut as good as the C83, but I'm willing to accept the performance of these chains because of the price. Huh, is that a rant? Well, I'm on a rant. I caught a piece of a video. I'm not going to say who it was, but I sometimes wonder if folks have emotional issues to work their way through. But I was basically informed that because I'm one of the many in this hobby, I only have a 4th grade education or 4th grade level education. I'm like, what? Which makes me one of the stupid ones because I argue the point. You know, of course, I'm not going to go back through life in a box, but when I came out of college, I was a degreed engineer, so I went past the 4th grade and spent, oh my God, a bunch of years as a manufacturing engineer type, software type, you know, business unit manager type, my own excavating business. But I still love these saws. So somehow I think that whole analysis of if you happen to like this hobby, you've got to be less than smart as compared to that individual. At least that's what he thinks. You know what my first thought was? And I'm not going to go there with who it was. Is the people who watch my stuff and comment, there's some smart folks, very, very smart folks. And I enjoy the interaction, especially the ones who comment frequently on the videos. These are either just smart or educated smart or business in the business smart, but they're all quite smart. They're not as defined by that particular YouTube guy. So my first thought was, well, maybe that's just what you attract. I didn't go there, but yes, I did. So there's my second rant of the day. But it's not a rant, it's just I find it humorous. You know, I find it kind of humorous. The people who I've run into in this hobby, the people who I've run into even working on the saws, of course, I was picky and choosy. It either came from a dealer, I didn't care that much. I just did my job as best I could. But the ones I took on, every one of them is special in their own way. And all of them were very, very, both either successful, intelligent, or some combination of the two, to where I respected them and saw them as, you know, at least equal, if not better, you know, in life than I am. I never, ever looked down on anyone that I've done business with. I've always respected every one of them. And I think that's maybe a philosophy difference. Is I don't think I'm all that special at all. And maybe I do fit that 4th grade level education style. Not the sharpest tool in the box. That's possible, but I don't care. And I really don't care what other people think. And I really don't pass judgment on the people who I happen to interact with and like. And for that matter, I just like people in general. I don't look down on anybody. Everyone trying to get through this life just like I am. And all of us do the best we can with what we got, with the deck of cards we've played. And that's the approach I've always taken. And hopefully I never, other than when I have a rant, sound preachy on the channel, and certainly not look down to the people who grace me with their time, because I appreciate every one of you. And I think as a group, I've watched this thing now grow for a long time. You know, even back with the Chinese saws, I've watched people get into that and learn about the saws. And I've been impressed. You know, I don't have any of these feelings that somehow there's a superiority thing. Not at all. I've actually been very impressed with the people who've engaged with me in this hobby and on my channel. So I think I need to say that. And thank you for the folks who continue to watch. And there are a few channels out there I watch, and, you know, I've mentioned them, like Barney Butler's channel. I'm in awe at those people. You know, doing something like that, making a living on it, surviving it, and also sharing an unusual and spectacular world to us and to you. People like that, I'm very, very grateful. So anyway, there's my mini rant. I got to cut wood. I'm going to get rained on if I don't get my butt in gear. I need to cut my way down to the end of the road. We cut partway into the woods, and then the dozer kind of roughed it out. I roughed it out with the excavator, I guess is the right way of doing it. Tree work with an excavator. That's ugly by nature. You can almost see the landing where it's a little bit lighter. So I want to cut my way from the north so I can save 15 minutes of drive time by coming in this direction than from the south. One more comment. My chaps of many years that I would use in the summertime failed. Snap broke. And you see where it broke right there. Now what I had done on my fall chaps is got a tactical belt and took off the hitch right there and added it to these. And I've really used these, as you can tell, quite a bit. They're saturated though, so they're getting kind of heavy. They didn't used to be that heavy, so now when I wear them, it's a load. I'm not sure I can ever get them clean, but there's a couple things I like about these chaps. I may just go get another set. The first thing is I like carrying my wedges. I don't have to carry a belt, you know. Put a couple wedges and that frees up a little bit of hand space. And the second is I like the way they work around the top of my shoes. They're a little bit longer. Now we actually shorten these. I got the extra longs and shortened them up so they would work with my boots that have the high heel. Where these are a little bit shorter, a lot lighter, which is why I use them in the summertime. And then of course in the wintertime, late fall, I like wearing saw pants instead of having chaps. And they've worked beautifully. I kind of wish there was a summer variant where maybe the front of the leg was chap material and the back was a lighter material so you wouldn't just sweat. But if I wear those on a day like this, man, I'll be dripping sweat. So I use jeans and these, usually. Today I got to carry around that weightlifting thing. Or just go buy another set. They're not that expensive. And put the tactical belt clip on it. Or just get another one of those and put it on those chaps. But either way, especially when I'm doing groundwork like this, and I might be in the brush, I would prefer to have chaps on. I feel naked when I don't. The last day or two after those broke, I wasn't quite ready to put those on, although I did yesterday, and it's just too hot. So I need to fix those because chaps are really a very important part of my world. You know, Sean's pushing around down there, which means I gotta get some trees for him to pull, right? And this ash right here, believe it or not, has got some leaves on it. There's some dead, but there's also a couple of leaves, so it might have some life in it. See, it's rolling out the side. So I need to get rid of some of those beech trees which are blighted. So I'm going to take them down so I have a place to put this tree. And they're just going to sit and rot. There's nothing you can do about it. I got to clear cut those anyway. So that'll be the first test of that bar and chain and saw, I do believe. And then I have behind me about a 15-inch diameter beech tree. And they're hard to find. You don't usually see them that big without blight around here. So put this saw to work. gotta be freaking kidding me. Oh well. Alright. Now let me see if I can get it to roll off. That one branch went over and grabbed the one tree a little harder than I thought it would. It should roll off though. Let me get rid of the hinge. There we go. Yeah, this one's going to be goofy. Look at that Widowmaker right there. So, yeah, I don't like doing these. But I'm going to get rid of the beech behind it. And I'm going to try to send it down that way. And hope that Widowmaker goes with it before it drops off. I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to do that. I might do a partial cut on that tree because it looks like the Widowmaker might fall into the Y. Oh man. Well, he's building road. He's right where I want to go, so maybe I have to wait. Let me get the one tree down first. There you go. I like that one. Ha!